So while I have the calipers off, I might as well change the brake pads. So these are the pads that I'm going to be using. To remove the brake pads, just remove the two pins here. So to make things easier, I've temporarily mounted the bolts back on. And this clip should just come right off. Okay, second one done. And the pads should just fall right out, like you've seen already. Some of them aren't that bad, they still have a little bit of life in them. But this one's getting down there. But I might as well replace them all anyway. So at this point it is a good idea to clean the brakes a little bit. I'm just using brake cleaner. Make sure it is safe for rubber, and all you gotta do is just spray it into the nooks and crannies of the caliper. I'm just using a toothbrush to scrub it. So just a word of caution, do not depress your front brake, because that will risk having your brake pistons pop out, and just a little bit more work if you do. So just keep that in mind. So before you put the new pads back in, you will need to push the pistons in a little bit more, just to allow for the thickness of the new pads, so they will fit back on your brake discs without interference. So the first step into doing this, you'll have to loosen up your brake reservoir just a little bit, so then any fluid that wants to expand and come out can come out. So on this particular bike here, you have to remove this screw and this locking clip. It's actually not a locking clip, but I guess it prevents people from tampering with it. Set that aside, and then very carefully remove the lid. I'll set this on a tripod here. Always use a rag, because if any brake fluid leaks out, it can be protected, because brake fluid is very corrosive. So that should be fine. So just loosen it a little bit to allow any liquid to escape. And unlike car calipers, you should be able to just push these in by hand without using any clamps or anything. So I'm going to do this one. You see how far it sticks out. Just going to push it in with 2 fingers. There you have it. You can see it's a lot more closer in now. So do the same to all 4. Alright, and you're good to go for the next step. Now see, this is the reason why the rag is useful. You can see the rag is wet with brake fluid. So we'll leave that there for now, because we will have to do the other side. And the new pads just slip right in, very straightforward. And it doesn't matter which way you put it, they're all the same. So I'm going to start with the bottom one, and then place the clip in. And it only fits one way, so if it doesn't fit one way, it's probably the other way around. Okay, so we're just going to let that sit there. The pin is next. And for the pin, I like to put a little bit of anti-seize, just so it doesn't seize up in there and make it difficult to remove. I didn't do that the last time, that's why it was a bit tough to remove. Okay. And just make sure all the holes line up. This should just fit right in. And then bolt everything up. We'll snug that up afterwards. And it's the same procedure for the upper pads. Okay, so both all the pads are in there now, so just bolt the caliper back up temporarily so we can snug down the bolts. And there you have it. Those are that's a brake pad change. Same procedure on the other side, and that's it. And then tighten up your brake fluid reservoir, put everything back together. The last step, when I get my wheels back, is to check the brake level. I assume it shouldn't change too much. Put some anti-seize on the bolts. So with the brake calipers on, both sides installed, we can now proceed to squeeze the brake lever. So now don't be surprised when you squeeze it, it goes all the way down. That is normal. Once you release the brake lever, it will pump the fluid back into the system, and it should go back to normal. This is because the pistons are pushed out right now. They're not actually touching the rotors. So there you go. Now it's back to normal, back to its solid self. And then check your brake fluid level, and mine seems to be okay. So now your brakes are good to go.